No Guts, No Galaxy is recorded in front of a live studio audience. This is an adult podcast containing adult language. Consider yourself warned. Live from the Outreach Studios around the world, this is a No Guts, No Galaxy podcast. And now, your host, Phil, a.k.a. Sean Lang.
Welcome to the No Guts, No Galaxy podcast number 81. My name is Phil, and I'm your host. It is July 17th, 2013, and my shout-out, it's going to go to Mech Manor. God, I freaking love that game. Finally finished the original campaign, streaming early this morning, putting that up on YouTube for you guys a little bit later, but yes, for anybody out there, wink wink, Garth, pass this on, Mech Manor. Just saying, I have a request. We would love the source code for Mech Manor Gold. I think it's a valid request. I mean, Mech Manor 2 source codes out there. Let's happen. Let's do this. Let's make a petition to make it happen. So, that is my goal.
Well, what about a Mech Commander 3?
Darren, what about you?
Oh, actually, since you made a request, I'm going to make a request as well. If some people have checked it out, MechTech forums are down. I am looking for Mech Warrior 4. Does anybody have the files? Does anybody have the game? Contact me. Let me know. Hey, this is Darren, a.k.a. Bombadil. And my shout out today goes to ranchers. Yes, ranchers, or anyone that has to get up at the ass crack of dawn to feed and clean up after animals every fucking day. Shit work is shit work. Thankfully, I only have to do it for 1 week out of the year to help my dad while he's away. It's almost over. And also a quick shout out to Matt, aka Rusted Pumpkin, for his continued and amazing work. Thank you, dude.
Yes, I have to agree. And Brandon, what about you?
Hello, this is Brandon, also known as Patrick Kell, and tonight my shoutout is actually going to a gentleman who I don't know the name of, but he noticed my shirt at the midnight showing of Pacific Rim, and I wanted to say, you're awesome.
What shirt?
He said, oh, that's a No Guts, No Galaxy shirt. And I'm like, yeah, it is. You should buy one.
Nice. Did he know who you were, or did he ask?
He did not know, and I did not say who I was.
I'm the Brandon.
The.
Yeah, you should have been like, dude, like, come on, really? You don't know who I am? I mean, really?
Listen to me talk.
Anyways, guys, welcome to our live studio audience. Got a nice amount here. It's always a pleasure. And of course, to all of our new listeners out there in the world, thank you for tuning in. And we say, hey, if you like what we're doing with everything at NGNG, we've got a tip jar on our website on the right side. Hey, show us some love, and we'd appreciate it. And we actually have a new donations feature coming to the website too. It'll, it's got some perks. So keep an eye on that. We're posting up the details. So when you do donate, you get some benefits like, being able to use whatever avatar you want, stuff like that. I think that's a reasonable thing for those that are donating. Hey, you should get some perks. So that's what we're going to be moving to. So thank you again.
Cool. And are you doing a little shopping online? Maybe Amazon, Newegg, or Tiger Direct? If so, help support the show while shopping for cool stuff online by clicking on the Amazon, Newegg, or Tiger Direct buttons on our website. They're on the right side. Scroll down a little bit. It won't add anything to your charge, but it gives NGNG a little kickback. It's a great way to support everything we do if you don't want to or cannot donate directly. And also a little bit of news. As some of you, most of you, a lot of you, I don't know, have been, communicating with us. The RSS feed for our podcast has been borked for a while, not working. I couldn't get it on my podcatcher either. So if you do not listen to our podcast directly from our website or via iTunes, but you do use a podcatcher on your Droid or other mobile device, our feed is now feeds.feedburner.com/NGNG. Again, feeds.feedburner.com/NGNG, and that will subscribe you right to our podcast. And every time we post a new one, it'll automatically update in your podcatcher. So there it is. Use it, pass it around.
Now, apparently, when I set this up, I actually didn't screw it up. It's just, so just going to throw it out there. It's been working for a while. I just needed some love from Darren. Needs some beard attention. But anyways, guys, this week we've got the Catalyst Game Lab sponsorship giveaway, a week 10 we're going to go to Sword and Dragon starter book. Now, actually, this is a really good starter book to get if you've never gotten into the Battletech universe, so make sure to check this out. Obviously, totally free. All you have to do is answer one simple question and register. That's all you have to do. There's no one forcing you, no ads, and nothing like that. Completely free. And I'd like to say again, Randall probably never listens to this, but if you do, thank you again for helping set that up. That was awesome. And of course, today we've got Garth joining us like he normally does. What's going on, Garth? How are you?
Pretty good. How are you guys?
Good, man. Good. So, yeah, any news, how's your cicada doing? Taking care of it, feeding it, and all that?
Yeah, I fed it a lot of people today, so it's feeling good.
I heard you had a match. What's up with that?
Yeah,
Someone stole your kill?
Another Canyon run. I seem to get that on Canyon.
Yeah, that cicada. I'd have to agree. So, all right, guys, today's going to be just an old style of format. We're going to go through some notes we have for what came out this past week and all that fun stuff. Talk about it a little bit. Give us something to chat about, and then we'll open up to community questions there at the end and move on to some other stuff. But first on the list is MechWarrior Online, and we've got the Lava World walkthrough. And here's a link to the vid, and there's still photos. Now, this was actually released via pretty smart individuals.
Let's just say this is unofficial. The official is still being worked on by moi and will be out soon. But yeah, this is this is more of a sneak preview than what I was bringing you.
All right, now
It is
for
the
this,
sneakiest of sneak previews.
It's a sneak.
So what this person did was it was on the test server, the public test server, and I guess they went into the files and changed up the files so they could drop on the training grounds. Is this correct, Brandon?
That would be correct.
Yeah, that's pretty smart. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you got to think. Well, everyone was like, 12v12, let's do it. This person was like, I have a plan. So it looks like they did that. And in the lava, apparently you cool off when you're, touching it and stuff like that. Now, that being said, this was and not the final, obviously, map at all and stuff like that. So
it's probably just a placeholder texture or something like that.
Yeah,
probably the same coding as water, and they'll just change the code after for release.
Now, that being said, when is this map? Garth, do you know a time frame? Do you know when this map is supposed to be coming out?
We don't have an exact time frame, but it shouldn't be too long. It's coming along nicely.
I was gonna say, how do you like playing on it?
It's really hilly, so I really like it in my Jenner in particular. It's a little weird in my Cicada, but you get used to it after a while. A lot of people charge the center and then get flanked, and then they get flanked, and there's a lot of dancing around the center. It's really interesting.
The center is that big dish thing?
Yeah, in the middle.
Right.
We call it the Thunderdome.
You can
the Thunderdome. Nice. All right, so obviously that was leaked, so check that out. And obviously there is a more official video coming out later on, I'm sure. We've got the Sarah Mech sale is actually on the 23rd. That is next week. Now, regardless of how you feel, definitely try to support this. It took them a while longer. Obviously, we had Russ, stating that, legal reasons, held it back for a little bit. So they got that taken care of. Or actually, I don't think that was Russ. I think that was someone over at IGP. Nico, I think, posted that. So that is going live on the 23rd. Garth, can you tell us a little bit about the Sarah's Mech? And can you explain, for someone who may not know, what is it and why you guys are bringing that in the game?
It's a special... It's going to be a champion. It's not going to be like a hero mech. And all the proceeds from it, based on a poor girl down here who we lost to cancer. She liked when her dad used a Jenner, so we built a little special Jenner build for her, and all proceeds from sales of this will go to cancer research.
That's an amazing thing. It's, man,
I can get behind
painful. The story just, kills me. But I'm going to take that emotion, turn it into something good, and definitely get behind the Sarah's Mech sale as much as possible. And like Phil said, if you have the means, please do help. It's totally for a good cause, and it'll be I think a cool thing.
Yeah, I think everyone can relate. And if you've never had a family member with cancer, or if you've never lost anyone or anything like that,
you're fucking lucky.
Yeah, I will say
to put it mildly.
I would have lost my mother if it wasn't for treatment when I was in Iraq. So, yeah, it definitely hits home, and we'll be fully behind it and spreading the word. So again, guys, when it does come out, help do your part, share it, help it, support it, and if you can't do it financially, hey, that's fine. Share the word. Tell your buddies about it and stuff like that. But let's raise some money for this girl and for research and stuff like that.
Say, it's a killer fucking looking mech, and it's going to be the Jenner that gets me into training up my Jenners. I haven't done any work on Jenners, so this is going to be.
I need to as well.
Initiates that for me.
Yeah, I feel like I need to do that as well. All right, moving on to the patch notes. Obviously, we got a new patch came out yesterday. Let's see, we had the Victor added C-bills. Now, Darren, Brandon, pipe in here. How did you guys feel about PGI doing the Hero mech and then the MC versions of the mechs before they released the C-build? Were you okay with it? Were you like, meh, just wait? I mean, how were your initial thoughts on that?
As someone with a very expensive marketing degree, I would say that it is actually pretty good. It's harmless as far as people complaining about pay to win and whatnot. It's actually a fairly smart move on all parts.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was an intelligent business decision, and I like to see those because I want this game to succeed and carry on for many years. So, I mean, it was what a week difference or something.
Yeah,
like
it was
that.
week.
I can understand people being impatient, but I don't know, tough it up. I mean, it's still there, and it was a week later. I think it was a great business move, and I'm fine with it.
For people who are wondering, the Hero mech came out 2 weeks before, and then the week before, the regular mechs came out for MC variant, and then the week after, it was the C-bill variant, I believe correctly.
Yep.
Now, so, I mean, the timeline from when the Hero mech was released to when the C-bill variant released didn't change at all. So it's just like with, for example, the heavy metal. The only difference is that you still have that incentive to spend MC if you wanted to get access quicker. So it's literally, again, just a jump into more content quicker.
Well, all it is marketing and obviously research in, gamers and psychology and stuff like that. And that's what, if you read a lot of the free-to-play, it's a big thing because, they're playing on how people, work. I mean, hey, if you got the money and you have no problem with buying the MC versions early, hey, good on you. But there's nothing negative I see out of it other than, hey, them getting a little bit more money, you being a little bit, either impatient and they're playing and that they're hitting the court, or, hey, you got the money to spend, it's no biggie, so you're just supporting the game. Either or,
you see
win-win.
This all over the place. Like a new iPhone will come out, and there'll be all kinds of people that have to have it fucking first, and they'll spend $100, $200 more just to have it before everybody else. Everybody else waits a month or two, their carrier puts it on sale, whatever, they get it at a discount. Well, whatever, it's just it's a business decision, and bottom line is, if people are impatient, have the money to spend, then them buying these things early makes it so the rest of everybody can play for free.
I was gonna say they're supporting you guys, so that's a good thing.
Hooray!
I know, right? We've got the Atlas Champion. Have any of you guys used this? I'm not gonna lie, I haven't. I still think, and this is my personal opinion, that the Champion mechs, we've heard it. A lot of people don't like the XP. Mason actually, hearing him yesterday when we were playing, said that he liked the XP just for the fact that he can just grind through those. But I just don't like them. I mean, plus it's an Atlas. I'm not gonna buy it. What are your guys' thoughts, Brandon?
I'd say even just splitting it from make it half of the Hero mech bonus, so 15-15, or even just if you want to take it even lower so it's not as much, make it a 10 and 10 XP, 10 C-bills.
Well, last time I asked that, everyone was saying screw the XP, just give me half the C-bills. Now, that being said, yeah, Garth, I mean, is that something that's been pitched? I mean, is it the sales saying otherwise? I mean, any input on that?
The sales are pretty good on them. I don't disagree with you guys. I'd like to have them be a little more unique, but that's why we're doing, asking people what they...
It's beta!
Yeah, then people give their feedback and then something changes. So I don't know if it will change, but I have said that a lot of people are requesting either a different kind of bonus or that kind of thing. So
I haven't purchased a single Champion mech. I've been tempted to, but that bonus just doesn't do anything for me. I will, of course, buy the Sarah mech. But yeah, I need to see, I think, a little bit of C-bill bonus in there, because that's what I'm always lacking is C-bills.
I wouldn't even mind like a special like small decal or something like that, a special just small camo piece or something like that on it, and just differentiate it.
Okay. Let's see. We've got the heat scale plus heat threshold implemented. Now, obviously, this was a big topic of discussion. We just talked a few podcasts ago about, Homeless Bill and his idea and, what was good, what was bad. And obviously, we talked to there's a ton of other ideas on how to possibly address this. Now, as soon as we did that, Paul came out and said, hey, these are the changes that are coming. For those, obviously, most of you guys out there have probably played, but for those that don't, the threshold, what it is basically before, where it was like, 120, 130% before you started taking damage, is now at 100. And then obviously the heat scale is basically when you're firing grouped weapons in certain amounts that you get an additional heat penalty for group firing them. So it's sort of forcing people to either watch their heat, chain fire, split up their weapons and stuff like this. I want to get your guys' first impressions on Darren, Brennan.
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, we're literally like a day in. So I am seeing less PPC boaters, but I don't know if that's because everybody's just jumping on SRMs and testing them out for a few days. Like I always say, we got to give this a little time. Got to give it a week or something, see when the dust settles. My gut instinct or feeling is that it's the change is not enough to as far as trying to diminish the role of the PPC boaters and so forth. But I can't say that for sure because I just haven't seen the results enough yet.
Brennan?
I have yet to play the current patch due to technical issues, but from what I've been reading, yeah, man. But from what I have been reading and stuff like that, I actually personally I like the 100%, and then you start taking damage because then you're self-conscious about your heat again, like before they did like coolant flush and stuff like that. What you were talking about, making yourself self-conscious of heat. I like if you overheat, you start taking damage. It makes a little bit of sense. Yeah.
Well, I've always felt that one thing early on in MWO's development, and you guys remember the times, it was right before Coolant Flush sort of came in, and I was saying like how good it felt to have a game that heat played such a huge role in. And, like I feel like that is like a key. It's a pinnacle of the combat. If you can push the threshold, but hey, you're going to be punished for it. And a good pilot can ride that line, ride in that 90% to 100% line, and
run hard or die.
And it's one of those things where so I haven't looked at the numbers. I still need to play a lot more, and I feel like this is something we can talk about like in a month or so and see and ask Garth himself or Paul, like, hey, what are the numbers showing? But does it fix boating? Now, let's be real here. This doesn't fix, 2 ER PPCs and a Gauss fract, 3 Delta, but should it? No, I don't think that. That's a valid build. Or does it fix a Stalker rolling around with 6 PPCs and firing them in volleys of 2? No, it doesn't. But what it does do is it curbs them from basically firing all their weapons and, just alpha. So if it's spreading out the damage, again, it comes down to skill. If the person can put the reticle on you, if you're staying in, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I guess it works out in both ways. I know there's been a lot of back and forth. I've seen discussions over Reddit and Facebook and our forums and stuff like that. So
yeah, I just don't think the math is in yet. I mean, like Wokey says there, it's a good implementation, but it didn't fix everything. And that's, again, I'm not basing that on numbers or facts. It's just my gut instinct. I feel like it was a small step, and maybe another small step or two might need to be taken to really be super effective. But we'll see. I really don't know.
I feel like it's a good layer on the cake, and we need to see what comes after this. But
Sprinkles.
That being said, yeah, lots of sprinkles. That being said, it sort of runs right into our next topic is SRMs were buffed to 2.0.
Yes.
And now this was actually voted by you guys out there in the audience and everyone else.
Thanks for voting that way, people.
Yeah, and so here's the thing. SRMs were buffed to 2.0 from, what were they at, 1.6? 1.7?
1.5.
I think they were 1.5. Yeah, 1.5.
I mean, that's a pretty, that's a pretty big buff from, 0.5 damage. But that being said, so yesterday it came out, and of course, when anything is done like that, everyone runs to them. And I don't think that's a bad thing. It gets a lot of information, I'm sure, data, analytical, information for, the devs. But that being said, a lot of people are like, oh my god, it's OP. Now, I rolled around.
What I was seeing was SRM Warrior Online. And why do people do this? The day of the patch, the day after the patch? Really?
I think it's, one, I enjoyed it. I rolled around in an A1 Splat Cat just to see. Now, I'm not the best Splat Cat pilot. There are better ones out there. But that being said, I wanted to see, is it crazy OP, stuff like that. Of course, the Splat Cat, I feel like the Splat Cat has definitely been, it's not as effective as it used to be. One, obviously, Host State Rewind, it can actually be hit. That used to be a big issue against them. Two, the splash and the ridiculous splash damage was removed. I mean, those things used to just be stupid. But that being said, I actually got quite a bit of damage in a little amount of time. But I also got taken out of the fight relatively quickly. And we were talking about this yesterday. I felt like certain mechs obviously will benefit, 3 SRMs, like the 9 Alpha. I know some people were talking about their Pretty Baby, bringing that out and stuff like that. But yeah,
basically, you and the Splat Cat, here was your role. You were taken out fairly quickly, but you did 500 and something damage, and you pretty much softened up every assault mech, which then Garth was able to pick off one by one because of the damage that you did. So it has a role. Maybe it's not the strongest tank, maybe it's not a sniper, but it was effective in what it needed to do. And
true. It would have been a little bit better, though. Obviously, a little bit of coordination pushing in there. But again, I want to say this. Every weapon should be a viable thing. People, I saw a comment yesterday during Twitch, and it was like, PPCs are, he was basically saying that PPCs shouldn't be a viable option to take. He was like, nerf them. It's like, guys, like, PPCs, large lasers, medium lasers, whatever it is, should be a viable weapon to take. You don't want, you don't want anything to just be nerfed to hell. And then on top of that, I think a lot of people just tend to jump the gun on it. And look, a good pilot, a good mech pilot in MechWar Online will use what they have and make it look, even better. I mean, you watch some, you watch some of these really good players out there, and what they can, you throw them in any mech for the most part, and they know how to use that, short range AC. Or
also, Vasco brings up a good point, which is AMS shoots down SRMs now like they used to. And that's also brings up a good point, which is I'm seeing a lot more AMS out there. I'm seeing people use them more, which is kind of cool.
I don't run them. I know maybe I should, but I'm like, eh. Now, there are a few times I've been caught in the open, but it wouldn't have mattered, I don't think, if I had AMS or not. So, yeah. Anyways,
all I can say is that I'm excited to be able to take my Trebuchet out and actually be effective again. Besides running ERPPC Gauss combo, but I used to be a
good pilot first.
I used to.
I'm happy to
have
be
the build there
with
the two SRM6s, 2 large lasers. But after the SRM nerf, it was basically just 2 large lasers because the SRMs didn't really do much.
Yes, and like I said, this is one of those things where it's not that large lasers or mediums or PPCs or Gauss aren't viable. It's just the fact that when you bring, this buff brings them into line to where they can be a little bit more effective. So you're like, yeah, I want to use the weight. I want to use the weight for the weapon plus ammo and stuff like that. I think it's good. I like it. And that being said, this rolls into our next thing, which is the Streak SRM changes. For those that don't know, basically beforehand, the streaks were going towards the joints, basically. So that's why, like, light mechs, the Raven 3L and stuff, always seemed to hit, like, CT, or at least the torso. I mean, it was almost constant. Now, this came in, and it's funny because I saw the thread over at Reddit, and it was like, oh, the nerf to streaks, and there was a few people that were complaining, why'd they do this? And it was like, I saw one person say, okay, so they fixed the issue, so now you're complaining because your light mechs that have been terribly OP with these simple weapons are now brought into line, and you you have to be aware of that, and you're not going to be able to run around just streak and hit.
Yeah, they were kind of easy mode, and so the people that like to run an easy mode, I can understand them getting frustrated. You know, these big changes, people have to get adjusted to them and change what they're doing or whatever. Overall, I was never a huge streak user before. I still have them on a few mechs, and you know, it is what it is. I think it's more fair and more balanced.
Well, what it did too from behind the scenes is it actually with the mech and setup. If you were to look at like in their editor and stuff like that, basically it had to do with their bone structure, where the streaks were going towards, and so now it's like in the middle of the bones and joints, so they're not overlapping into other areas. Anyways, there's a huge write-up that one of the engineers did over out on the command share, so make sure to go check that out. It was a while back. But it is in effect, and obviously you can see that streaks shouldn't hit the head too. That's another thing, is they're pretty much, they don't go, now I guess it could happen if you're jumping above or whatever, but they're always going for certain locations, and that's up on the patch notes as well. And of course we got the Testing Grounds map select. Now you can actually choose which map you want to drop with. I think this is actually a really important thing, just for the fact that, hey, I want to make a build for, you know, I don't know, whatever, and
testing
I
your
want
heat
to
levels.
yeah, you know, anything, and to be able to do that. Obviously, I foresee this having a lot more functionality with UI 2.0. I don't know, call me crazy.
Well, I think right now it plays two parts. Well, no, really it only plays one. You get to get into a map and see what it looks like. Once we're able to do the community warfare, and for example, we know what maps we're getting or whatever for certain battles, it'll play a huge part in that we can go in there and we can look at the terrain and we can set up strategies and tactics. Without having to be in a match. You can take your time and look for good places to set up ambushes or whatever the fuck you're going to do. There's another F-bomb for you. So, I think it'll play more of a role. It's nice to have it in now. But right now, I think it's just more of an aesthetic thing. You get to check out a map and see what it's like.
All right, we've got Ask the Devs. Obviously, they switched up the format. You guys were able to vote, and Brian answered actually in length on some of them. But some of the key topics here were tonnage limits and DirectX 11 soon, which, in my opinion, is big. And the reason I say this is from a random match pub experience, because that's what I do, guys. I'm not the most active person, especially when it comes to like aces. That would be Brandon and the rest of the aces and unit leaders and below. I play a lot of matches.
Aces-HQ.com.
I play a lot of matches just either by myself or with a group, and so I want to see tonnage limits. And the reason being is, when I play Mech Commander, that's one of the big things. It makes you choose a little bit of a tactical decision. Now, how they're going to implement that, I have no idea. We don't have the details yet. And another big thing for me is DirectX 11 and stability. And I have a nice ass system. I want to be able to utilize that video card, all that RAM. I want to be able to utilize DirectX 11 and tessellation and all of that. That's what I want. I've got a GTX 690. I've had this thing for a while. Let's push the let's do this, please. Let's do this.
It's coming.
Yep. Third person view is after. They didn't really state how, when, why, and I know this is a big topic, so we'll cover that at a later time.
That's a big topic.
Oh my god.
Third person is coming. The third person is coming.
Oh my god.
I didn't want to talk about it.
Oh my god.
You don't want to talk about it.
We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Every day.
Yeah. Let's see. We've got some sort of community warfare will be at launch, and for those that don't know, launch is September 17th. So that is the official date they've released, and some sort of community warfare. I have a feeling it'll be sort of basic, but that being said, UI 2.0 has to be out. So we know UI 2.0 is coming out either, before launch, which means community warfare as well. So we've got 2 months left. Actually, pretty much 60 days, right?
Yeah.
61 days, something like that.
Speaking of dates, because that's an important date, September 17th for the actual official launch. September 26th is the launch party in the San Francisco Bay Area. And September 27th is NGNGCon, also in the San Francisco Bay Area. So keep your eyes out for more news on all that.
And I think this is one of those things that Garth was sort of hinting at a few podcasts ago. Is like, they had to have UI 2.0 in before they can implement community warfare, and it's just one of those things that UI 2.0 from the pictures and stuff and all the mock, I mean, it's completely different, and it's probably the biggest game change we've seen coming up. I mean, you know, throughout the mechs and the combat, you know, when you look at a total UI rescale of everything, I mean, that's a big thing, because too, it has to fit, you know, fit for community warfare and all the lobby system and all that. Yeah, so
The real question is, will it support Excel spreadsheets?
EVE Online. Which is funny because I never used Excel spreadsheets playing EVE Online. I don't know.
You
And,
didn't use the program
I
which
played by
EVE
skill,
Online
man.
was a mod for.
No, I was a vagabond harasser. You would have hated me. All right, we also have one big thing that I've talked about, and I've asked Garth, and I've asked you guys, but they actually answered. They're looking at the mech scale now. This was actually written up by Dennis, and he actually gave some, you know, good feedback on how the process goes along. You know, they've got a system in place, and it's a lot of work. Now, that being said, what are your guys' thoughts, Brandon and Darren, about the mech scale? Do you see the quick draw being too big? Do you see the media? Like, what are your guys' opinions and why?
Centurions, in my opinion, too big. There's just a few mechs that seem...
Okay, do you think the Centurion right now is underpowered? Because here's my feeling. They're going to have to balance something then. Because if they make the Centurion smaller, like right now I feel like the Centurion is totally balanced. It's a kick-ass mech. If they make it smaller, it's going to become a better mech. Is it going to be unbalanced after that?
That's one thing we'll have to see.
I mean, I understand the whole scale issue, but I think you have to you see the forest through the trees, you know, like, I mean, there's more to it than just change the size, because it's going to affect other stuff.
Oh yeah, the hitboxes and stuff like that. And
well, look at on top of that. Let's take the Stalker. It's not a tall mech. If you were to make it as tall as another mech, it would be weird, because the large majority of the Stalker is, you know, it's thrusting forward, you know, with the whole, you know, torso assembly. Same thing with the Jenner. It's got a, you know, forward thrusting, you know, cockpit assembly and stuff like that. So those things I can understand, you know, comes into effect when scaling. But that being said, Dennis did say they're not happy with it, as far as they're not 100% happy with it, and they're going to look at it. Now, that being said, there is a ton of work that has to go into them adjusting. Do I think it needs to be done? Yes. Do I think it needs to be done for every single asset? No. And I do like the fact that they do have a system in place. But, you know, we just had Alex Iglesias on our Mech Tips and Beer 13, and he even said that now that when he's designing concepts for mechs, he understands the system a lot better, so when he is drawing the concepts, he takes in the fact of gameplay and well as the hit issues and stuff like that. Obviously, you know, we talked about the dragon, you know, and stuff like that. So
yeah, I mean, I'm pretty indifferent. I feel like it's going to get worked out regardless of my own opinion. So if they change it, I'm sure I'll adjust and I'll be fine with it. If they don't, I'm sure I'll stay the same and be fine with it.
Now, Garth, we've talked about this. Can you comment on this? I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, do you think
on mech scaling?
Yeah, I mean, do you feel like everyone's justified saying, "Wow, like what the hell's up with the quick draw?" Like, really? Like,
I think I often agree in a way. I think people assume it will do something it won't, such as like Centurions being smaller. I don't think they need it. Two, I don't think it would make much of a difference, because they're already annoyingly hard to hit specific targets up anyway. Personally, I'd like the Awesome to be smaller. That's the one I've always looked at and go, I mean, even if it becomes not to scale, like it's too small for 80 tons, I just want it to be smaller so much. I don't want it to be a barn door. So
well,
maybe it'll be thinner. Would be the instead of like
diet. Put them on a diet.
Yeah, put them on
well,
diet.
I just want to cut a piece off. Right?
The way I look at it is, let's look at the let's just touch on this real quick, and I think we've talked about this in the past. Let's talk about the quick draw. Now, the quick draw is energy and missile based. It has no ballistics. And for all the setups you can do, in my opinion, it relies on speed. It relies on speed and maneuverability, speed, jump jets. And when you rely on those things, if you're a gigantic target like it is, it's easier to hit. Now, I don't think it would solve, like, I don't think it would be like the end all be all and you'd, quick draws would just be this perfect go-to. But what I feel like is it would help the fact that a smaller target is harder to hit. I mean, you see that on the light mechs. The fucking spider is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. So that's how I feel, is it has a gameplay implication if the scale is incorrect. That's what I feel like. And it makes some mechs harder to hit and some mechs easy. And so if that's the case, if the quick draw is supposed to be this fast, nimble, heavy, because it's only 60 tons, then it suffers right now from being an easy target to hit. Now, that being said, I do see quick draws all the time. And, they're used actually quite effectively.
That's what I was going to say, is that I'm seeing quick draws all the time. So, maybe I don't see them as often as other more popular mechs, but they're being used. People like them. I don't know. I mean, this is just such an.
But that doesn't mean it's not an issue. It doesn't mean
I'm not saying it's not an issue.
Yeah. So, anyways, they are aware of it and they're looking into it, and that's actually one thing I was happy to read. Another thing on Ask the Devs is the time. This is actually something a lot of people, I think, would, at least I agree. When they started this whole one-on-one time scale, I was like, oh, that's really cool. But to me, personally, I don't care. Let them push it back. No one cares. It's totally lore. I shouldn't say no one cares. Some might care. But the reality of it doesn't affect gameplay at all. So that's why I don't care.
I totally care about the game more than I do the timeline.
Yeah, so totally, stop it right now, PGI. Look at your schedule, redo it. It's not the end of the world. And I think that is fine saying, and I think just being honest about it. So they are a bit behind schedule. They haven't stated what they are or aren't going to do, but I think we've had Russ basically on the, playing and on the podcasting basically say, if they have to, stop it or adjust it, it is what it is. It's not the end of the world. And a lot of people actually, I think, would be okay with whole, yeah, as Gar says, let's go back to 2745.
Back to the future.
Yeah. So anyways, not a biggie. I think everyone out there, I saw a lot of people in chat agree. Now, I know those clanners are going to be like, fuck, I just want my clan mechs. Totally agree. I want my Timberwolf,
I say fuck it all. Let's just fast forward to the year 5000, and there'll be no clanners, no Intersphere. It'll be something totally new.
Mind meld.
Sticks and stones. Right. We have literally blown ourselves up.
All right, just a friendly reminder, obviously tomorrow, the 18th, the public test is going on again, 12v12, so make sure to get involved with that. We will be streaming it, so just keep an eye on that. That'll be going on tomorrow for 2 hours. Check the times on the post. Let's go ahead and move into the dev stock area. We've got Paul Heat Scale update, and he's got a few sub-updates with SRMs 2.0, 30th for the Heat PPC change possibly, and what I feel is really, really cool is the seismic sensor adjustment and RD update. So we've been saying the seismic sensor, it's a end, like if you don't have it, you're at a disadvantage, and it was a little bit too OP. Now they're bumping the range down to 180 for the basic and 250 for the elite. Now I like this just for the fact that it is going to change how it's used. It's still viable to flank targets with this. Obviously as a light, you just want to know to keep, behind that 250, meter mark, which is fine because that means you can still hit with, lasers and stuff like that. So,
Phil, I need to interrupt real quick. The Garth needs to leave the building, so we have to say adios to our friend.
We'll see you tomorrow morning, man.
See you in the morning,
Have
Garth.
a good one, guys. Be there tomorrow. I want
Be
more
there.
People.
Night, buddy.
Bye, guys.
So anyways, that's what I took away from that. Now, obviously, RD update, it's being buffed, which good. I know a lot of people are like, man, I want like this RD strike to, if you're standing still, you're going to suffer. I totally get that, but I don't want it to be totally OP and abused all the time too. So that being said, I'm okay with the seismic changes coming up.
How dependent have we all become on seismic? I mean, I can't even run without it anymore.
I don't own it.
You don't own it?
I don't own it.
I feel naked now, seriously, when I'm in a mech and I don't have it.
I unlocked it. I just am too space poor to afford.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have two like rich people like Phil. I have one that I have to move around to all my mechs, but man, I am on top of that because I miss it when I don't have it.
I feel like when I don't have it on, I do feel like I'm at a disadvantage just for the fact that they can see where I am. Now with this change though, that does help out. That 400 meter radius, that's a big deal. So now they're cutting that pretty much 250. So all right, moving on to some community questions. Obviously, Garth is out here. Sorry, he has to run. He's got a real life. He'll be back tomorrow for the Twitch event, so we can bug him then.
I think what we're going to have to do is in the future put the community questions up front so that he can participate.
It's funny. Some of these questions are more towards like community warfare and asking like Paul and stuff like that. So
where he'll only say, I don't know.
Or, sure, why not? Or no.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, I love Paul. Let's see. We've got Gurzoot says, can we have a damage taken stat added to the end of the match screen? Assuming yes, how can one see it implemented? I wonder if this is going to be part of the whole UI 2.0, just for the fact that I have seen some mechs recently. That Victor yesterday, it got down to like 17%, health. It just would not die. And then we had Garth legged him to kill him, and it was ridiculous.
Remember, Deadfire linked that screenshot of us, a Centurion that was at 6%. Pretty insane.
Zombie Mag.
Mm-hmm.
I
We've got.
would think it would be a really good idea to see how much damage you're taking at the end of the match.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming. I mean, they increased the amount of information we get post match already, and I'm sure they'll do more. A good game that I like with tons and tons of post match stats is World of Tanks, and they've improved their stats as well. I'd like to see something along those lines.
Definitely something I would like to see, but personally, I would like to see something come before, like the damage taken stat added to the end of the game, but maybe how much time you've capped on cap points. So just have something to look at. I don't know.
Here's a good question by AG, and he says, is there any possibility that we'll have a change to the paper doll damage diagram to this bar version? Obviously for all those who Mech Warrior 4, Mech 3, Mech 2. How do you guys feel about this? Yeah, I can understand from the design perspective of just leaving it like the mech diagram. But what do you guys think? The bar, or are you like, don't really need it, or why not? Just so I can be a little bit more accurate with how much armor I have left.
Put it on a cockpit monitor.
The bars seem pretty popular, but
why
I'm
not?
pretty indifferent.
Why not? Why not have the option though?
Slap it on the cockpit monitor. Have one in each. Like have the mech outline on one monitor. Have that bar one on the other one. There you go.
No, what I'm saying is, why not have it like the old ones where you could switch?
You could toggle.
And yeah, why not? I mean, it's basically them just taking the data from your mech and transfer it to the bar, which pretty much
it's basically the same thing, just different visual representation of that data.
I have no problem with it. I feel like
to see a pie graph personally because I like pie.
No, I feel like it does.
With 5 pi grams, do it. Let's do it.
I feel like it does take away a little bit, and not that it's all about the micro and macro in that regards, but I still feel that it does take away. Like you're not 100% sure how much armor you have on your Centurion's arm. It's red as hell. So it's one of those things. I do feel that it would help someone who maybe is, colorblind or something to the effect of where they can actually just see the difference, or something like that. I don't know. Why not have both? Let the option. Let's do it. Let someone choose what they want. Why not? I don't think it'd be very hard to implement. I say that, but I'm not a programmer, so I'm just totally talking out my ass.
Yeah, and I'm going to change my mind on the pie graph because pies and beards don't go well together.
Dude, apple pie goes well with everything, even beards. All right, Kazrock says, fighting inside a factory with ramps leading up to 2 or more levels would be interesting. What is the chance of seeing this type of map in the future? All I got to say is, if you ever played MechWarrior Living Legends, there was a map. God, what was that thing called? Someone out there, it was basically a urban jungle, and it had like highway ramps, everything, multi-layered, multi-tiered, multi-dimensional. It was great.
So we're looking for more verticality rather than horizontal gameplay.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually a cool thing that we haven't seen.
I think I would love to see a very close, very tight city style map, but you'd have like Phil was saying, all the freeway ramps and stuff like that. Different level buildings that if you had jump jets you could utilize. Also giving jump jets another role on the battlefield. I mean,
you think lights are a pain in the ass. Imagine if you had verticality to where,
exactly.
it would make it viable.
I mean, even some rec buildings that you could use as ramps to step onto taller buildings and stuff like that, and you could do it that way.
I want to have a map that's just one giant elevator shaft, and so it's totally just up and down.
You're fired.
Only.
Stop. Just fired.
Hey, Little Sniper asks, where do you go to submit these community questions? Go to, you can either, I guess we're not doing Facebook anymore, right? We're just going to our website, go to the forums.
Website.
I check
Yep.
everything. I do
Okay.
check everything.
So,
But website's better. Just
Website is better. Go to the forum.
best. The website is the best site to submit your questions.
All right, we've got Ferrix, and he says, and this has actually already been addressed, Ferrix, and he's asked, with new mechs being released every 2 months and September 17th release, when is PGI going to go back and update the meshes, basically the geometry, Centurion, Hunchback, all the old ones, Atlas, for the older mechs? And what he's talking about is basically the weapon changes. Now, we've asked, is this going to happen? They said yes, but we haven't got a date. So I will ask Garth and possibly touch base with like Dennis or someone over at PGI and see when that is, because obviously I think it's a really cool thing. That's like, I almost expect it in a way, like now that every mech that comes out has that, I just sort of expect that sort of thing. So I love it.
I would like to say thank you, Ferrix, for all of your wonderful work during our Twitch live streams, linking and so forth. You're almost like an honorary member of NGNG. Thank you, dude.
Without the smell or,
Yeah, without all the negative parts.
lingering presence of standing there.
The 15-minute break where I get to touch Bombadil's beard.
If you're lucky. J-Man asked a question. Phil?
Will the Hunchback ever get a speed boost? It's outpaced by every light, medium, and more than half the heavies.
Do you guys feel like the Hunchback needs a speed boost? Phil was keeping up with us. He was in his Hunchback, and he was keeping up with us in Centurions when we were doing a wolf pack. I don't often get into my Hunchback and think it needs to go quicker, but maybe I'm unique, and a lot of people think it does need one. What do you think, Brandon?
I think, as someone who played the Hunchback quite a bit, I think it's perfectly fine right now. I mean, it is supposed to be a little bit more heavier because it is mounting the AC-20 and stuff like that. As such, you're sacrificing your speed for your weaponry. I think you could probably add a tweak to a couple of the variants, maybe like the 4SP, and I'm trying to remember the Swayback, where it could maybe mount a little bit heavier of an engine due to the fact that it's got a little bit lighter of a load. But I mean, I guess that's really
well. Look at the Trebuchet. There's one that's a little bit faster than the other three. Me personally, I think the Hunchback's fine. I want them to follow. They don't have to follow tabletop rules specifically. Look, I get it. Sometimes they get step out, but I feel like the Hunchback is fine. I feel like for those that weren't back way like the launch backs, for those that don't know, closed beta, there were some crazy ass builds that were just ridiculously OP. But I'm perfectly okay with it. I mean, I don't think it needs touched, but that's just me. I don't know.
Again, probably like maybe one variant that has a quirk where it can mount a little bit bigger of an engine. That's really.
What about the variant that doesn't get used very often? How about that? What about
exactly.
the 4.8? No, the 4H is actually
the black sheep of the Hunchbacks.
The unspoken one.
We don't speak of that one here.
What one is it?
No, I mean, I don't know. I think the Hunchback's pretty damn close to being where it needs to be and being balanced. I don't see a lot of people complaining, hardly any. Now, I respect J-Man. He's a great player, and I'm not diminishing his request or anything like that, but I just feel basically from listening to the player base that it's pretty damn close.
Yeah, 4J. The 4J is the black sheep. I mean, stuff like that, I would have no problem with, like, if PGI was like, look, this mech isn't being used. It's the hard points. Now let's give it some love. Maybe a little bit faster so it's viable, and maybe someone takes some SRMs. The one thing with the Hunchbacks is, the hard points specifically, like some just are better than the others. So if that's the case, if that's the case, look at those ones that are not being used. Maybe give them some love, but don't change the hard points. Don't make them, give them the tweaks, better acceleration rate, a little bit faster, stuff like that. But yeah, I'm okay with that. So good question, J-Man. All right, guys, we're going to go to questions from the live studio audience. Obviously, guys, it's just us. We have no devs here, so any questions that you guys have, we're only going to take like 2 because podcast is almost over. But yeah, any questions you guys have, just X up, and I'll call on you, and you'll unmute and ask away. So let's go ahead and open it up to the floor. Does anybody have any questions? Go right now.
It can even be discussion, whatever. We'll take a couple of you, chat a bit. So is there something you want to talk about, ask?
We got the Tactics stream earlier today. MechWar Online,
Launch
BTU,
party,
BattleTech.
NGCon,
What do you guys have out there? Anybody? XUp? No.
T-shirts.
Oh yeah, T-shirts by the way are off.
Phil's Lizard.
Yeah, we can talk about the lizard. It's cool. X up in chat basically means in the studio chat here, all you have to do is hit the X and just hit enter like that. Moonsword. All right, Moonsword's the first one. Unless he was just demonstrating.
G'day, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, Moonsword.
I've noticed something with a few of the previous podcasts and listening to them, that you seem to have dropped the Duncan Fisher Minute.
I'm actually glad you asked. It was just they just took a break. The writer and George took a break for a couple weeks, but there's a new one, and it will be in this podcast, which will probably go live tomorrow. So don't worry, Duncan Fisher is continuing, and we'll be back in this podcast.
Darren's just being really polite. What really happened was there was a small collaboration. Someone somehow let alcohol slip into the room, and they both wandered off, and we haven't seen them since.
Yeah. No, I mean they're enjoying doing it. We're enjoying listening to it. It's just hard to have it for every single podcast. But yeah, it'll be like I said. We have one sitting here waiting, and it'll be in this episode.
And by the way, hopefully you guys have been enjoying the turnaround on the podcast. I want to say, and I'm gonna jump on the soapbox. Obviously, it's through you guys that we're able to do that. We're able to basically set these guys up on a contract to be able to pay them for their work. I mean, and it isn't a whole lot, but hey, it's better than nothing, and that's because of you guys. So if you have the ability, if you like what NGNG is doing, hey, head over to our website, donate, buy a shirt, buy any. This goes to them. It doesn't go to me and Darren. Nothing. It goes right back into basically NGNG pays the people for doing the work. So if you can do that, help us out.
I totally agree, but we did cut off Moonsword there. Were you going to say something else, Moon? Are you liking the Duncan Fisher Minute a lot?
Yeah, I do like it a lot, actually. It's very funny to listen to most of the time.
I agree. They're great at what they do. Yeah, we'll keep it up. Everything we can get from George, we will get. We will wring him dry of all of his talent.
All right, good question, Moon. All right, who's up next? We've got Foxhound73. Go ahead.
Actually, it was 8th, 001, so we'll take 8th next.
Yep, gotcha, Fox.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, I just had a question. I know they do the 12v12 test servers. Are you guys going to do a Twitch stream from then when they're active?
Yep, we'll be live tomorrow for it as well. We did it last. We did it when the first one was. Was that?
It was last week, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, my days are blurring. Sorry. We did the first day. It was live. We did a Twitch stream as well.
Awesome.
So,
Can't
our
wait
normal
to watch you guys.
Twitch tomorrow morning will be the 12-man.
All right. Awesome.
Okay, that wasn't me.
All right, Fox, go ahead.
Everybody's everywhere.
Are you planning to do a vlog on the NGNG.com?
Oh, yes. NGNG-Con will be live. And that's actually one of the things that me and Darren actually meeting with a guy that has access to multiple different venues, hangars and stuff like that. Obviously, the big thing for me from the technical perspective is, one, we need a place that has power. Two, it needs to have internet. So we can set up a computer. We will have one, if not multiple cameras set up at NGNG-Con.
We'll have one in the bathroom and everywhere.
Yeah, and basically what NGNG-Con, for those that don't know, obviously, is going on. It will be right after the launch event for MWO. I'm going to be in the area, obviously, so me and Darren felt it was the right time. And that being said, we'll be streaming the tabletop action. I mean, we're going to be sitting around drinking beer, talking. And we're getting more and more people to come. As far as Russ is going to be staying,
Russ
probably
Bullock
Brian.
Confirmed. Brian.
We're gonna
probably.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get as many of these
Randall
guys.
Bills, hopefully.
Yeah. And I know some of the IGP staff is going to stay. They're super excited. We're going to try to get Randall, Jordan Wiseman. I'm going to try to get it. I mean, we're trying to get everything, and all of this is going to be on our Twitch page, NGNG TV. So trust me, you guys get to see all of it, and then of course we'll put it up, and that'll be NGNG Con year one. I think a lot of people out there have wanted one. Obviously, it's tough though because I know it's going to leave some people out. I'm on the East Coast as well. If it wasn't for me, flying out to California, I wouldn't be able to do it. So. Again, I know it's tough. Maybe depending next year we can do something even bigger. Or like I said, I think it would be great if PGI did like an event. I think it'd be great. So maybe I can whisper in Russ's ear or something like that. Maybe Darren rubbed the beard on him a little bit.
We should rent a big ass boat. And go into international waters.
There you go. So that
anyways. Yeah, so we'll get you more info on that, but all right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and move on. Sorry, not as many community questions. We just wanted to get through that. Obviously, we'll have a roundtable discussion next week, and we'll go from there. But everyone, thank you for those questions. We got MechWarrior Tactics. We had the Founders Update, which we already talked about. But basically, if you have the Founders package already and you want to update, literally, you can. We've got a link for you to follow. But today, me and Darren were playing MechWarrior Tactics on NGNG TV. We're going to be doing a lot more of those, by the way. Fortunately, it went well for the first match. Basically, it was a grudge match. And,
First match was bullshit.
I told everyone, place your bets, and a lot of people were placing their love and faith into the beard. And, sometimes misguided trust gets you in bad places. So...
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is that we did run into a few bugs today, and now this is closed beta. It is a little bit buggy right now, but the cool thing is that we had a lot of fun. It is, it's a great combination of the tabletop, the card collecting game, and so forth, and it's being fixed and updated regularly. So we're looking forward to where we're going to go with this. We'll be streaming it as often as we can and putting it on YouTube and so forth. But definitely worth getting behind if you can. And
that being said, just a heads up, Darren and I do have permission to stream it. Don't go out and post YouTube or pictures, and don't get yourself in trouble. We do have permission to do that. So anyways, just a little clarification there. I know some people are like, hey, is this still closed beta? Don't want you guys to get in trouble or anything like that, but we will have more on it. And I feel like it's a good time sink. Like me, like I don't mind hopping in there and playing a match. Hey, we could literally just left that match, came back tomorrow, and continued on. So
I love that.
And for me, I do have some free time. It's nice to hop in there, maybe make a turn or two, and come back later. I will be putting that up on YouTube later on today. After the stream earlier, I had to take a nap. I'd been up for over 30 plus hours. So, anyways, that's what happens when you start streaming, and I'm like, oh, Mech Commander, let's stream. I don't know, crazy. But anyways, guys, again, just a heads up, we've got the Catalyst Game Lab sponsorship giveaway week 10, and that is Sword and Dragon, the starter book. Make sure to head over to our website, register. It's a simple process. You register, you post a comment via the question, and that's all you got to do. I'll actually be drawing the winner for week 9. I haven't done that yet. Got to do the random number generator. So pay attention, by the way. If you register, make sure to use a valid email, because that's where I send it to. So I've actually had someone who, it was week 4, they won and didn't respond, and after a week I do another random drawing and go to the next person. So make sure to check your emails, please, because I want you to win this stuff, and you deserve to win it.
Situational awareness, folks. Be aware of what's going on, or you'll lose your prize.
And that being said, we've got Facebook. We're up to 4,100 people on Facebook. Holy shit, man. Hey, by the way, it is a great way for us to get... It is a great way. Go ahead, Brandon, say it. Just
fucking explosions, man.
All right, there we go. All right, so it is a great way for us to get you guys feedback directly. Now, the cool thing is our website is now tied into Twitter, and it was tied in Facebook. I didn't like the whole auto-generating from what. Anyways, Twitter is up and operational now, so make sure to use our Twitter account. I'm not a big Twitter person, so that's why this is best, is it auto-generates for us. That way I don't have to do everything 50 times. But anyways, guys, check out our YouTube content. I've been putting up a ton of content on YouTube. Sorry it took over a week when I came back from vacation. That was on YouTube. I had all the videos ready. It's just it was being a pain in the ass. But I've got a lot of Mech Commander videos to come, and Mech Commander specifically, I finished the campaign this morning. I'll be moving on to the Mech Commander Gold expansion campaign next. And so for those that don't know, it introduced the Bushwhacker, the Stiletto, the Mauler. I think that was it, though, at the top of my head. I don't know if there's any others. But that being said, too, if there's anybody who's experienced modder, and when I'm saying old, these old-timey games, what it comes with executables and stuff like that, if there's someone like that, if you're a programmer out there and you know what you're doing as far as that, I want to talk to you. And the reason being is I want to mod Mech Commander. I think Mech Commander is a great game. I'm going to try to get in contact with someone at the Old Fast Studios. Maybe try to talk to I don't know, Wiseman and try to get the source code. I feel like if we can get the source code, that would be awesome. But anyways, until then, you can actually mod Mechmanor pretty heavily. Mechmanor Gold, you can mod. Not
Quick,
just
get Wiseman on the red phone.
So, any news on BTU? Someone just asked. Actually, Rudy is actually here. Rudy, are you available to pipe in here? Maybe we get you some direct feedback. I don't know if he's listening, so let me
While
see.
we're waiting for that, I want to say hi, George. George joined us. George. Hey, George, are you available to chat? Can you unmute, sir?
Hi there.
Hey, George. We were having questions. People were asking about the Duncan Fisher Minute. So I just thought I'd ask you, how's that going? You got some more episodes in the making. Now, of course, we are sitting on one that will go in this podcast, but your fans are clamoring for more. What's the word on that?
Oh, well, okay. Yeah, I mean, me and Dave are working on those, and I had some time this week, so I've been doing that, and we're going to have some more fun little things coming in soon. All kinds of stuff from Solaris 7. I've been studying, folks.
Nice. What are you studying?
I'm studying the Solaris 7 Player's Game Book.
Sweet.
The thing is a gold mine of stuff about Solaris 7 that I never knew.
See, and that's very good.
And this is actually something we were talking about in our chat that George was like, hell yeah, because there's literally like a ton of information, and if you haven't checked those out, the source books are filled to the brim with, I mean, it talks about basically each house, how it's handled there, the lore behind it, the different coliseums and all that. Anyways, there's a ton of stuff.
It even talks about the friggin' burger joints, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Details, man.
Oh, this thing is
street
crazy.
level.
So
you heard it from the fisherman himself. There's more Duncan Fisher minutes on the way.
All right, guys. So Rudy, for those that don't know, by the way, Short Painter, aka Rudy, he is working with me and a few others for BTU. For those that don't know what BTU is, we can get you the links as well. Brandon, if you don't mind getting the blog and the video. Lately, we've actually been diving into moving forward on the alpha of this, Rudy, and I just want to have you pipe in, like, what are you doing right now as far as in BTU specifically?
Hello, everybody. Right now, I'm actually just working to make sure that the mechs can move around, and then they can do torso twists and aim at objects, and basically just get them moving so that the player can control them and have fun with them. And that's really what we're doing right now. I mean, we've had sort of that system already in the game, but we want to refine it and make it perfect so that it works on all mechs and that it works perfectly without any trouble. You know what I mean? Because it was all done with like we called it band-aids and duct tape before, but now we want to actually get a professional style animation system in, and so that's where we're at.
Okay, and so when you were saying aiming, I guess we can chirp in here. On the video we showed you guys, which is a prototype, by the way, it was me and Rudy pretty much learning Unity. And one of the things for our design was to have verticality, like Darren was saying, or like in MWO, to where you can shoot at targets above you and below. Well, in MWO, you aim and your arms rotate, animate and rotate and all that. Well, in the prototype build, actually, you're only shooting on one plane at X height, so wherever your weapons come out, they travel in a straight line and stuff like that. And obviously, we can turn on gravity on like ballistic and SRMs, and they'll fall. But so one of the things is having the sort of being able to aim on your screen. The programmers will have to come in there and basically write like algorithms. So like when you mouse over a building on your screen, again, it's two-dimensional. And anyways, we got a bunch of stuff. But what I'm trying to say is when you aim at something above you or below you, your arms and torso will move up and down, and you'll be able to shoot at said target. So that's actually a big thing going on right now. And of course, like he was saying beforehand for BTU, basically how the mechs were set up is we had a torso and legs. The new setup is using Unity's new animation system and character avatar system. It's called Mechanim, and it's all one character, which is really, really good because You can do stuff like leaning into turns, full body animation, swinging arms. I mean, everything pretty much we wanted to do, but we weren't able to do it beforehand. So anyways, that's what's going on right now. That being said, for you guys, and actually we just met last night for BTU, we hopefully will have something for you to run around in as far as the Locust within like 2, maybe 3 weeks. And we're going to focus on the whole movement system, being able to fall off like a height, and the flexing of the knees and landing, being able to have a foot, like if you run over a rock or something like a car, your foot will actually raise up and your knees will bend, but the other leg will remain straight. There's actually stuff we can do for that. There's a lot of cool things, but obviously as we're moving forward, just expect small little incremental updates like that. All right, guys, I just want to say thank you for coming out, our community, our staff members, and for everyone supporting us. Again, we do have a few things coming down the road for donations on our website via the forums. We got a cool things for those that don't know, like MechSpecs, how they do their benefactors program and stuff like that. That's something we've looked into heavily. We actually had something completely separate, but you're going to get some perks for donating on our forums, on our website, and you're going to get stuff like avatars and stuff. You can do your own stuff.
Every donation of $100 or more, I'll pluck out a beard hair and send it to you. I'm just kidding. That's not happening.
No, we get to pick where you pluck the hair from.
I got a special one for you, George.
And of course, this was your local No Guts, No Galaxy MechWarrior podcast. We hope you enjoyed tonight's show. This is Phil.
And this is Darren.
This is Brandon, also known as Patrick Kell.
Until next time, Mech Warriors.